If you're not listening, well then I hope you are now. Hi, hello everyone, my name is Daniel Minton and this is my presentation over listening. Throughout this presentation I'm going to talk about various things such as what listening is, the misconceptions of listening, Heurier's model of listening, types of listening, and 10 principles of listening. I am very credible to this topic because I am actually learning about listening right now through this course, and throughout Chapter 5 I have been able to gain a lot of knowledge from the slides and the readings, and I've been able to put a lot of things together in perception in order to make myself a better listener, and hopefully you guys as well. What I liked about first is what listening truly is and what does it truly mean, because people tend to get this concept mixed up with hearing. Listening is actively making meaning of a message from a spoken person. So that means you are interpreting the message that they are saying. Whether it's you need to go clean your room, and you interpret those words that they say, and that means you are listening. Hearing is whenever you're just hearing the frequencies of sounds. You're not necessarily in and focused in on what the spokesperson is saying, but you just hear what they're saying. Or it could be any noises that were just made in general, from music, beats. That is hearing, when you're just interpreting sounds, but you hear them, but you're not listening to them. So one of my second main points is the misconceptions of listening, and there are a lot of misconceptions of listening. So the first one that I would like to talk about is a lot of people say that listening is the same thing as hearing. As I said before, hearing is a physical process while listening is cognitive. So number two, listening is easy, natural, and effortless. This is not true at all. Whenever we are born as human beings, we don't just naturally know the English language. We have to sit there and interpret and listen to other people. That's how we learn in order to speak. So listening does take a lot of hard work. Some more misconceptions would be listening is a difficult skill to learn, and this is not true, because from our early years we've used the basic skills for listening, so as we get older it's easier to perfect it as long as we continue to work on it. Number four, listening is simply a master of intelligence. Not all smart people are good listeners. There's a lot of people out there that think they're too smart, and that's a problem, because the day you stop listening is the day you stop learning. Another misconception of listening is if people tend to say if you read a lot more, then your listening will become better. This is also not true at all, because like at the end of the day, yes, vocabulary will help with comprehension, but you have to practice listening. I mean, you practice reading, but it's two different ways of practice. You're reading on your own, through your own mind. You're not listening to someone else read that to you. You understand? Another misconception people get all the time is when it comes with gender and listening. People think that your certain gender will affect the way you can listen. There are differences in the way we communicate with gender, but it's not a factor in how someone listens to someone else. And last but not least, the last two misconceptions of listening are, in the communication process, speaking is more important than listening. This is not true at all. You get way more out of listening than you do speaking, because it's your own knowledge that's coming out. You're able to interpret and gain more knowledge by listening to others, and you can combine these two together. As I said before, the day you stop listening is the day you stop learning. So if you think you know it all and have all the answers and questions to everything, then you will no longer excel and succeed in life. And number 8, listening is primarily about understanding the words from the speaker's words, and this is not true at all, because context also can affect the way someone understands something and the way like they're listening to something. So one of the next main points I would like to cover was a model that was developed in 1966 by Judy Bernal. It has a total of 6 steps, and it is one of the most effective tools for listening. So the model that Judy had came up with was called the Heurier model of listening, and H-U-R-I-E-R is how you spell Heurier, and each letter has its own meaning behind it. So H in Heurier means hearing, The U means understanding, R means remembering, I means interpreting, E means evaluating, and R means responding finally. So, and this is the exact model right here, actually, if you can see. This is the model that she has came up with and created. So, and the next main point, I would like to talk about the types of listening, and there are 5 different types of listening. The types of listening are very important because this will now allow us as humans to be able to know what type of listening we need to use in a certain situation that we are in. So, the first type is informative listening. Informative listening is listening to be informed to understand the message. So an example for this could be, let's say an employee takes instructions from their boss. Now, at the time, the boss gives information to them about new COVID guidelines that they have to start doing at work. So that could be wearing a mask, or you have to be vaccinated. The listener is using informative listening because he's being informed on something that he is going to have to prepare for and do. The next type of listening is appreciative listening. So this is listening for enjoyment or pleasure. So an example of this could be, as you see in the picture, this kid is listening to music. He's listening for enjoyment. Another example could be, let's say you turn on the radio and you have a sports game or a certain podcast on. You're listening for entertainment. The next type of listening I would like to talk about would be relational listening. This is listening to maintain certain relationships. And for example, a great example of this could just be whether or not you're at home with your girlfriend or just your spouse of any sort. It could be your kids, your family, anyone in general. But you're connecting with them and having a personal conversation in order to maintain your relationship and just keep it going and always keep it growing. So, critical listening. So critical listening is evaluating or analyzing what is being said. So for example, critical listening is basically forming an opinion on what the speaker is saying. So you can make an opinion on, oh, what he or she said was very smart, and I'm going to try to maintain and take as much information from what they said as I can possibly and learn from that. Or it could be what they said was bad, and I'm not listening to that. The next type of listening that there is discriminative listening. So this is listening careful with the ability to pull out important information while weaning out the information that is insignificant. And as you can see in this picture, there are people working together, a team together that is having a meeting is what it looks like here. And while, let's say, the spokesperson is talking, they could be talking about individual things that only matter to certain people within the group. So while the speaker is talking about to the things that don't apply to the other people that it does not matter to, those people would not be necessarily listening or writing down. But then when the speaker comes along and gives the specific information to those individuals, they will write that information down that they need to know. On to the next main point. So we have 10 principles of effective listening, and this is the most important to me, and this is why I saved this for the last. It was definitely because in order to become a better listener, I believe you need to work on these 10 principles each and every single, just as much as you possibly can in order to become a better listener. So, number 1, stop talking. Yes, when someone is speaking, listen. Do not talk or interrupt them, okay? So, and then when the other person has finished talking, that is whenever you can ask them questions if you do not understand their message, or if you just have any questions about their message. So, number 2, prepare yourself to re-listen and relax. So, focus on the speaker, put things out of your mind. The human mind is easily distracted by other thoughts, and I myself can really say yes to this because I have a hard time I have a hard time when I'm speaking to someone not having just thoughts race through my mind about what they're saying and wanting to add on. So this is something that I really truly need to work on myself. Number 3, put the speaker at ease. And this is something that I find very, very important, because the speaker has to feel comfortable while talking to you. They should feel comfortable while talking to you. And they need to know that you are listening to their concerns and what their problems. So whenever they are talking, for example, you could nod your head and understand it and agree with them to let them know that you are simply truly listening and you are concerned about what they're talking about. Number 4 is remove all distractions. And so what I'm saying by that is, don't have stuff laying out in front of you while you're listening. Don't be texting on your phone while someone's trying to have a conversation with you, because you're not going to be interpreting what they're saying. Or don't be looking off onto something else and thinking about something else, because that just shows disrespect to the speaker, and at the same time you are not going to interpret any of their message that they have given you. Number 5, empathize. Try to understand the other person's point of view. So try to look at the issue from their perspective. In other words, put yourself in their shoes. By being open-minded, we can be a lot more empathetic with people, and people are going to continue to become more and more comfortable talking to you. Number 6 is be patient. A pause, even a long pause, does not necessarily mean the speaker has finished. So this kind of relates back to number 1, stop talking. But right here, be patient and let the speaker continue in their own time. Sometimes it takes time to formulate everything that he or she, the speaker, is going to say. So never interrupt, because when you interrupt, you could by chance throw the speaker off task, and they could end up losing their train of thought and what they were thinking about and going to say. So number 7 is avoid any personal prejudice and try to be impractical. So don't become irritated or let someone else's habits distract you or upset you from the speaker, from what the speaker is really saying. So for example, just because, let's say, if they had blue hair, nose piercings, or let's say a political shirt you didn't agree with, don't let those distractions stop you from listening to them and what they are saying. So number 8 is actually listen to the tone. And what I mean by that is volume and tone both add a tremendous amount of they just add tremendously to what someone is saying, what the speaker is saying. So a good speaker should use both volume and tone to keep their audience just intrigued and listening. So pitch is very important. And so as we start to wrap it up, throughout this topic, I really truly hope and pray that you were able to listen and interpret everything that I was said and take as much information out of this and use it and apply it to life. Because as I said before, and I've said it, I'm going to say it again, the day you stop listening is the day you truly stop learning. No matter how smart you are as a human being or whoever you think you are, Elon Musk, Einstein, it does not matter. The day you stop listening is the day you stop learning. You will never have all the answers, no matter how brilliant you are. And that's why listening is just so important and vital to the everyday lives of human beings. And it's something that I truly believe that, especially nowadays in society, we need to start working on more and more of, because of the fact technology is advancing. We are being held away from each other from coronavirus, kept away and isolated. And I've just really noticed nowadays it's a lot harder to communicate with people face to face, because people are scared to have conversations. Don't be scared to have a conversation, and don't be scared to listen. Don't be scared to look someone in the eyes. And if you can truly do these things and work on these things, especially the last 10 10 principles of and just concepts of listening, if you can work on those last 10 things right there, each and every single time you're listening to someone, you will improve. You will improve tremendously, and you will see these things happen. I myself have already, throughout this course and this class, I've started using some of these tools, and I've already seen myself grow already, and it's really cool. So throughout this topic, throughout this presentation, first I had talked about what listening is. Second, I had talked about the misconceptions of listening. Third, I had talked about the Heurier model of listening. Then I had talked about the types of listening, and last but not least, I talked about the 10 principles of effective listening. And as I said, all of these main points that I have covered, I hope you were able to interpret clearly and understand, and I hope you're going to be able to apply these. And so thank you very much, everyone. I hope you guys have a great day, and I hope this presentation benefited you as much as it possibly could. So thank you guys. Have a good one.